Tommy Nordpole, live in Norway. Today I want to talk about the limitations that make you more creative when you go outside and try to do something like street photography. When it comes to street photography in Oslo, I like to limit myself. And the first limitation is this camera, and another limitation can be the settings that you're gonna use for that particular day. Street photography doesn't have to be in some spectacular place. This is the Oslo City shopping center, and like everything in Norway, it's quite well designed, it's quite interesting, and you can find many interesting spots, many interesting places to do your street photography. Even that camera have so bright aperture 2.0 on the shorter end, it doesn't give you this exactly blurry backgrounds or anything like that. But in the advanced menu, you have this one special mode. You have to go down deeper in this rabbit hole of the menus and choose the miniature. And what it does, it makes the top of the screen and the bottom of the screen, I mean your picture, blurry. So you can choose only the middle part of the picture, like this middle row, to be in focus or sharp. If you can combine it with some previous tips from my other episodes, you can get some interesting images. Of course, you can use this miniature technique anywhere you want, but for me, the shopping centers and the central stations, this is my favorite ground to test out these new techniques. It's like you have to discover yourself, but for me the limitations are the way I can progress, the way I can get some interesting images, the way I can think outside of the box. Because if I have the best gear and I can photograph whatever I want, then I'm gonna photograph whatever I want, but not necessarily what I really want to photograph. Back in the days you could achieve this effect just using the tilt shift lenses or something like that. Also from macro photography. If you're gonna use the macro lenses on the bigger cameras, so the closer you get to your subject, the more narrow the depth of field is. You can use it to your advantage in the street photography, which is a win-win for me, especially for people who like to use the limitations to be more creative. And I think Fujifilm X10 do this quite beautifully. I mean, it can look fake if you try to overdo it by yourself, but if you rely on your camera and you know how it's gonna look, then you can predict a little bit how it's gonna be, but still have this element of surprise. I don't think it's just me. I think like every camera you buy nowadays, or you don't even have to buy one, you have one in your hand, the one I'm recording these videos with. Every camera these days is like pixel perfect. Somehow the creativity idea, like the way to go there and try something, to achieve something, it's gone. But this is not how I work, this is not how my brain works. I need to have some kind of challenge, not like a huge challenge, but something that limits my possibilities, and for me it's this camera, the Fujifilm X10. One trick that I use with this mode is like you try to predict where the people gonna walk. When you have advantage and you are on the higher ground, then you can get your composition right, and you know only the middle of the screen gonna be sharp. So you wait for someone to pop up, like the other techniques that I try to teach you, and then you take a photo. I love the colors, but the limitation that I see on this mode is like I cannot switch it for the black and white mode, because then I can create, I believe, totally different images than in the color way. In my other videos I talk a little bit more about this camera and the way I photograph things, but if you want to see it, I guess you have to subscribe to this channel. Or not. The best about this camera is like nobody see it, nobody pay attention to it. If you are watching this video, there could be a few reasons. Number one is the Fujifilm X10, the simple camera from many years ago. The reason number two, it can be a street photography. That's sometimes I believe I do. And number three, you just watched it for me, right?